All right, so now that we've created our first Angular application, let's go ahead and get into the files and see what's going on there. So if you'll see here, we have a few things, a few folders, the E2E or N2N folder for testing, and the node modules, which is just all the NPM packages needed to create the beginning application that we created here, and the source file, which is also all the things that we need to create this. Also, we have the Angular CLI JSON, which is just some things that Angular needs to know for your application to begin for dev and also for build. And then some configuring files, some Karma configuring files, some Protractor configuring files, just a lot of configuring files. And then the source is where all the magic actually happens. We have our favy icon, of course, our index.html, which is the first thing that pops up before we even get our application here. We get this page, and then right there is where our application actually sits. Our main.ts, which is where Angular bootstraps everything, and then we have some environment variables and some assets that we could use, and then also the app, which is where our actual application is happening. Here you can see the HTML for our beginning page. And then we have our app module right here. And let's go ahead and explain the app module. You'll see right here that there's this import called ng module and import called browser module and also app component. Well, what you can know is that an ng module is class basically describes how the application parts fit together. Every application has at least one ng module, and that's the root ng module, which is going to be right here for us. And really, this could be anything. It doesn't really matter what the name of it is, but usually people call it app module, so everyone knows that whenever they look at an Angular application, they know that I'm going to the app module to figure out how the whole tree structure works. So we go back into this module, app module.ts, and you'll see that there's this decorator, they call it ng module decorator, and it's just how we declare or create a module in Angular that is eventually compiled down to JavaScript. And right down here, we have all the things that we need or the metadata for our module. So first we have the imports, and ng modules are a way to consolidate features. So you'll see that right now there's a browser module, and the browser module is always needed for any application that's going to be run in the browser. So that's why we have it in our ng module here. Our providers, we're going to look at that later. We have our declarations, and it's just an array of components that belong to our app or our app module. You must declare every component that you ever make for your application inside of a module. It doesn't matter which one, but most likely it's going to be the app module unless your application starts to get big and you need to go ahead and separate it into features. And then the last thing we have is the bootstrap array right down here. And that is just a array that your main.ts file looks at when you are bootstrapping the application to go ahead and put whatever components are in here in the DOM. So let's see, we have our app component here, and if you look at our app component, we have a selector called app root. Now, if you look at our index.html, you'll also see that we have a element right here that's called app root, and that's what happens right in our main.ts file, is that we take that app module, we look at the bootstrap array, and then we say, cool, there's an app component that I need, and its selector is app root. So then it goes from here to here, and then goes all the way back up to the index.html and says, cool, let's go ahead and put the application right here. That's basically what's going on there. In the next video, we're going ahead and just do a few small things when it comes to setting up our Angular application.